Planners. It's a real high honor and privilege to be with you tonight. I'm Steve Iacchetta, head of the Capital District Planners Association and member of Judy's past board. The Buffalo delegation unfortunately pulled out. Ellen Parker is our current president of the upstate chapter of the American Planning Association. So if you're not active in the APA yet, students, please join right up. And we've got a great active local section, CDPA. CPAplanning.org. Thanks to our webmaster, Bruce Draver. On this topic of thanks, very briefly, special thanks to Chris Franklin on the GPSA. Chris, you and your team have done such an outstanding job. Chris Franklin, thank you. And we're on our CDPA board, and for David and Keisha, did all our lunch meetings and everything else. So the drama bills, I said, I know we all chipped in. Boy, there's a lot of tickets in here. I'd like to impose on our first elected city auditor, the City of Albany, Lee Engstrom, also our Secretary of the Capital District Planners. Lee, can you come down for a moment and assure us an auditable raffle of the first book? You never can get serious about selling the great Sprawl Repair Manual by a distinguished guest before this. So Lee, yeah, step right up. Here's the high drama, drum roll, please. A moment. I want to share a very brief poem for planners while Lee's coming up here and he does his ceremonial draw. It's only about four lines. You guys follow. Yeah, I'm going to read poems. I'm going to read poems. Bear with me. Show me not the aim without the way, for ends and means on earth are so entwined. Knowing one, you know the other two. Each path we take brings other ends in view. What do we live for if it's not to make life a little easier for each other? So there's two little bits of philosophy from the Airport Planners U. And the winning ticket is Lee Engstrom.
562-841.
Good one. The first Thanks so much. So we will be selling books with personalized photographs at the table at the end of the talk tonight. As I was saying, it's a distinct high honor and privilege to join with you tonight to introduce Galina Takieva, partner with the Director of Town Planning at the distinguished firm Duany, Plater & Zydak. Students here are more familiar with the firm than I, but this is a very distinguished firm of architecture and planning based in Miami, implementing urban development, range of environments from downtown to suburban retrofits, over 15 years experience in design and implementation around the world. Galina is bringing in international player with proven strategies for success. Takieva has led and managed scores of DPZ projects nationally and internationally. Is the author of the Sprawl Repair Manual, Island Press, July 2010, which presents a comprehensive methodology for transforming sprawl development into human-scale sustainable communities. This is a richly illustrated book, and we'll have the pleasure, if the PowerPoint works, it will work, we saw it work, with rich illustrations. Over 2 decades of experience applied a step-by-step process to design regulatory and implementation techniques for re-urbanizing and rebalancing suburbia. In 2009, Takieva received the People's Choice Award in the Reurbia competition sponsored by Dwell and Habitat for her Urban Sprawl Repair Kit. She has also contributed a number of publications, including, but not limited to, New Civic Art, Architecture, the City International, and the Charette Handbook. Takieva was born and raised in Bulgaria and can bring a wealth of knowledge from her European experiences. Received her architectural education at the University of Architecture and Civil Engineering in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. Master's degree in urban planning at the University of Miami. Almost came to Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, but Miami's home base for now. Joined DPZ in '93 as project manager, serving as director of DPZ Miami office since 1998. In 2008, she became the principal and partner for the firm DPZ. Takieva has lectured widely and is the founding member of the Congress for European Urbanism, sitting on the board of directors for the Center for Applied Transect Studies and the Guild Foundation, and has been certified as LEED accredited professional. Speaking internationally, as I said, how to reimagine our suburban development, new urbanism, affordable urbanism, sprawl repair, and downtown redevelopment. And we look forward to welcoming Galina Takeva. Fingers crossed. So are we good? F5 maybe? There it is. Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. Well, this was like a long biography. I had to shorten it. I didn't know that you were going to read such a long introduction. First, I want to thank you all for having me here on this important day, the World Planning Day. I guess it's not one of these obvious holidays or celebrations, and I have to admit that I didn't know too much about it, but thank you for introducing me to this day. I'm absolutely honored to be here on this wonderful day when you had your first snow. I'm very happy that I brought it to you from Miami. So we need probably to really celebrate it more, you know, and to make it more obvious as planners and designers. And on such a day, we have to be very optimistic and very happy. And as planners, as creators and designers of the built environment, we need to celebrate. Do we have any reasons to celebrate? This is the question. And of course, I could show you today a lot of examples of successes all around the country. Beautiful projects built by scores of planning firms around the country. And they are, you know, there will be a kind of a proof for urban redevelopment, renaissance all around the country, and many other initiatives, including suburban retrofits, infill projects, greenfield projects even of great quality. But flying in today from Miami, flying first over, you know, my place where I live, Miami, and then approaching Charlotte, and then approaching Albany, actually gave a different idea. I will try to challenge you. You know, I was looking at the endless suburban sprawl, which is engulfing, you know, Miami and Charlotte. Here, actually, in Albany, I couldn't see it. Everything was white and very beautiful from the air, so it was not so obvious. So I'm not going to talk about successes, but I will be talking about the shortcomings of our profession as planners. And I'm going to talk about basically what we can and what we need to do about these shortcomings. And of course, the title of the book, it cannot be more explicit. You know, sprawl repair manual. If we're going to be repairing something, this means that it's probably broken. I mean, this manual was created with a sense of urgency. We have obviously a problem. Sprawl, you know, our sprawling communities, our way of sprawling has been, this way was malfunctioning for decades. And sprawl was basically, has been underperforming for decades. But in recent years, actually in the years of the economic crisis, and kind of the mortgage meltdown actually created basically the collapse of sprawl became very, very obvious. Its failure on all levels. You know, we can start enumerating them. You know, economically, does sprawl work economically? Obviously, it does not. It is very expensive to build. We spread our infrastructure. We build. You know, far away from places. We just waste a lot of resources. Does it work? I mean, does it work environmentally? Of course, it doesn't work environmentally either. I mean, sprawl is central to our waste of land, waste of water resources, waste of natural resources. Does it work socially? Of course it doesn't. It doesn't work for the younger people, for children. You know, children cannot walk to school. In the 50s, maybe 90% of children walk to school. Today, only maybe 30%, even less. Older people, seniors, they cannot walk in sprawl. I mean, they are basically forced to be the so-called mall walkers. You know, they can go in the mall and have walks, but not basically in the physical environment of sprawl. So all of these things are showing that, sprawl is really not working very well. There were some recent interesting studies in Sarasota which were quite stunning, making a comparison between one of the kind of iconic symbols of sprawl, a mall, and also a mixed-use project, kind of a walkable urbanism, comparing basically the county tax yield. And the common sense till very recently was that actually expansion and development kind of in the excerpt is good for municipalities and for towns and cities because it was bringing, basically tax revenue. But what this study showed that actually the mixed-use project was with a staggering 3,500%, was showing 3,500% higher tax yield for the municipality, for the county of Sarasota than the mall. So all of these things actually show that we have a problem, that the party of sprawling actually is over and that we need to do something. We will have probably more than 100 million people actually joining us in this country, whether all the demographic studies are showing that in 2050, up to 2050, we'll need to house all of these, 100 million souls. And where are we going to do? How are we going to be doing it? Are we going to be? What are our options for that? Are we going to be building in greenfield in the same sprawling ways as we were doing till recently? Probably not, because it's kind of obvious that we have been learning our lessons and we're not going to repeat these mistakes. The second choice is probably to abandon what we have done and say, okay, well, we made a lot of mistakes, let's move on. Maybe we have other possibilities, we'll be redeveloping only the inner city or, things like this, and just not to worry about what is already done in sprawl. But that's also not going to help us because these 100 million people will not fit neither in our urban areas nor in even the first ring of suburbs. So we'll need to go into the second and third tier of suburbs and deal with that. We'll deal with them. So basically, the most viable third option how to resolve our demographic, economic, and all other social and environmental issues in front of us is to deal with sprawl straight on today in a very kind of aggressive manner, ambitious manner, very similar to the way sprawl actually was incentivized and was designed and was regulated and was implemented. Of course, all with good intention. Before starting, okay, if I can start, but for some reason it doesn't move. I don't know why. So I'm sleeping. I wanted